premium cigars are all 100% handmade. I mean, from like seedling to finished cigar, about 300 sets of hands touch that cigar before you smoke it. And it's all done by hand. So they plant it by hand. They, take primings.
The harvest and everything.
The harvest by hand. They hang it by hand. They age it by hand. Everything's done by hand. And this tobacco, a lot of the time, is sitting years and years and years before it's rolled. That's how you age it. So just like aging wine or whatever it is, you have to age it, and time is money.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to Talkin St. I'm your host, Ryan Bogdan. Before I get into today's amazing guest, I want to let you know this episode is sponsored by Bogdan Homes. So if you know anyone looking to buy, sell, or invest here in the greater Tampa Bay area, please find our contact information in the description below. And now, on to our awesome guest. He's come the dressed best by far. I got Jonathon Waterman, the owner of Estate Cigars. Jonathan, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm super stoked. And you're doing such a cool thing. You're showing up in a big way. As we were just talking before, cigars are just popping off in the area.
They are. St. Pete, Tampa is a huge hub for cigars historically. And then, I've been smoking cigars for a long time, since I was 18, when it was the legal age to smoke cigars. During COVID, there's a huge cigar boom, and figured it'd be a good time to get in the industry. So,
okay, so let's go through. There's a lot of things in that sentence that we can dive into. Let's first, before we get into your history of cigars, there's a great history here in the greater Tampa Bay about the cigar industry. So, based on your knowledge, what you know so far, what can you tell us and inform the audience about the cigar history for those who aren't familiar with Ybor?
Yeah, so Ybor City, Tampa Bay, or Tampa is still claimed cigar capital of the world. I mean, if you've ever been to Ybor City down there, still to this day, like down in that area, every other storefront is a cigar lounge, or they're rolling cigars in there. They're making their own cigars. And there's a rich history. Beginning in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. Just became a huge hub for cigar making and distribution, and that history has just kept on going and going. And then post-embargo, when Cuban tobacco was outlawed, we found different sources, and from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, shipped it in, and they kept rolling. So just a super rich history. Some of the biggest players in the game are based, to this day, still in Tampa. Arturo Fuente, J.C. Newman, two massive companies that still have their headquarters in Tampa. So it's pretty cool.
That is cool. And I just got into cigars maybe, I'd say 2 years ago, and was not even familiar then that I had the cigar capital of the world in the backyard.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. When we first moved down, I'd been visiting St. Pete for a long time, and I always thought there'd be a lot of cigar lounges in St. Pete like there is in Tampa. But St. Pete really does not have the amount of cigar lounges by any closeness to what Tampa has. So, St. Pete it's coming over to this side. Tampa's definitely still like the hub around the world. And when people think cigars, they don't necessarily think St. Pete, but they definitely think Tampa. So it's cool to kind of bring that over and to this side of town and across the bay.
Well, I appreciate you doing that, because I don't like crossing that bridge.
I don't either.
Everyone on this show knows it. So
I don't know anything. Owning a cigar bar, people come in that are from Tampa, and they ask me questions about Tampa. And I'm like, to be honest with you, I know nothing about Tampa. No hate, all love. I just don't. I go to the airport.
Right.
And when my wife wants to go to the International Mall, I'll putz over there with her. But other than that, I don't know anything about Tampa. I should probably go over there and check out some spots.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you go over there and lounge in their cigar lounges to get more people over here.
Yeah, I've gone to a few of them over there, but there's definitely some highlighted ones over there that I still need to visit. Like Grand Cathedral is like one. Cigar Journals.
You haven't been?
I haven't been.
All right, so now I don't feel bad. If
Okay.
the guy who owns a cigar bar hasn't been to Grand Cathedral, I don't feel bad.
I have not gone over there yet, but I've been to quite a few over in Tampa. Because I think Grand Cathedral opens right in the meat of when we were opening, and so I did a lot of, I went to every single cigar bar I could, Tampa, St. Pete, just doing my research and seeing what was already out there. And I don't think Grand Cathedral was quite open yet, but I've heard a lot of good things, and from the pictures it looks beautiful, so I need to go check it out.
Absolutely.
I'm glad they're over there, not in St. Pete.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. We can bring our own thing over here. Okay, so we got Tampa, big cigar market, St. Pete lacking. You saw an opportunity. Said you've been coming here for a while. little blow up in the cigar world during
Yeah.
COVID, and that's when you decide to open a shop.
Yep.
So I'm always interested on the show of like diving into the creative and where the initial idea comes from. So let's go back. 18 years old. I don't know many 18-year-olds that are smoking at least classy cigars.
Yeah.
So was this like a Black and Mild
No.
world, or like who introduced you?
Yeah, I never smoked, cigarettes or Black and Milds or anything like that growing up. But never really interested in me. High school graduation, we're walking down and some guy pulls out like a pocket full of I think they were Macanudos, and he was like, "Hey, I got some cigars for after graduation." I was like, "Shoot, that sounds cool," because at that time, I didn't really know, I knew nothing about cigars other than that they're celebratory or old guys smoke them or whatever it was, and so smoked a cigar at the high school graduation, and I really loved the experience. I loved the cigar. I was hanging out with friends, smoking a cigar. It was a great experience. So the very next day, I went to the local cigar bar and was like, "Hey, I smoked a cigar yesterday, and I really liked it. I don't know what it was, but I want to start smoking cigars." And the guy's like, "Hey, try this one." And yeah, so we just that's where the hobby kind of started. I fell in love with it. It's a rabbit hole of never-ending knowledge with cigars. The agricultural side of it, you can just keep going down that rabbit hole forever as well. It's all made by hand, and there's just so much to learn about types of tobacco and how they roll it, how they age it, how the whole process comes together. And I would just sit in this cigar bar, this cigar lounge. It's an old dinky cigar lounge in Kansas City called Outlaw Cigars. And my buddies, we were all 18, so 3 or 4 of us would just go and sit in there. We had crappy summer jobs, and after we got off work, we'd go sit there and smoke cigars. We were the only kids under the age of 40, 45. And the guys at first were kind of like, "Who are these freaking kids in here?" And then they kind of found out that we were actually into cigars, and they would just feed knowledge into us, "Try that, try this, try this, try that." And we just sat and smoked cigars 3 or 4 times a week, and it just became like my biggest hobby. So
That's a commitment.
never ending, and it just stuck with me all through. We'll probably talk about my career and how I got to St. Pete and all that kind of stuff. But through all that, cigars have been like the constant hobby.
Okay,
That's why.
so it started early. There was an early passion, and so now we'll fast forward. I know, so 18 cigars. Then I know you got into the music industry a little bit. So just real quick, run us through that, because I think it was in that time maybe when the idea for a cigar bar started to form.
Yeah. So long story short, right around the same time, I started smoking cigars. I was going to college, and went to college. Wanted to figure out who I was, and wanted to try some new things, put myself out of my box. I played guitar for a long time, but would never sang in front of people. And I was like, I think I want to write some songs and get over this fear of stage fright and play in front of people. So I wrote a couple songs and just asked the coffee shop by my university, "Hey, do you mind if I pop here on a Friday night and play some songs?" Like, "Yeah, sure, we don't care." So started doing that, and I really enjoyed it. So I kept writing. And I guess long story short, got an opportunity to go to LA, recorded a little 5-song EP. This is 2010, 2011. Released it to absolutely nobody, and then Instagram became a thing, and my neighbor in our dorm was like, "Hey, this thing called Instagram, you should get on it. It could be good for your music." So I got on it, started posting about my music, and very quickly gained a large following, a few 100,000 followers on social media, and then went back to LA the following year, did another 5-song EP, and then that one went number 10 on the iTunes singer-songwriter charts, back when people actually bought music. This is back in 2012. And that's when music started looking like a career. I was making money, was getting calls from labels and stuff in LA, and so that's kind of my time in the music industry. Then did a passion project, a little 3-song EP, it was contemporary Christian music. Went back to LA to record that, and then the calls from Nashville started coming in about coming to Nashville and pursuing that route. So ended up going to Nashville.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in Nashville. What happened next?
So senior year, my spring break, I spent in Nashville writing with Sony, Fairtrade, all these big, Capitol Music labels. And, after that, they're like, "Yeah, this stuff's good. We like it. If you want to come down and pursue this, you should come down." And so I was like, law school or Nashville to do music? I was like, Nashville, doing music. So I went down to Nashville, and for the next 6 years, did music and did the starving artist kind of thing. Because people think that if you have management and a label, that things just kind of take off. They don't. You're still broke. You still serve tables on the side while you're trying to hustle and play shows and get the song that you need to really drive the revenue. So yeah, hustled doing that for about 6 years, and then made my way to St. Pete.
Okay, so in that time, so you said you've been coming to St. Pete for a long time. What was hey, and hats off to you for doing all that to begin with, because it's hard to commit to something like that of being an artist, and you had some success in it. So it's shows your drive and all that. So I find that really, really cool. What was your introduction to St. Pete?
A couple of guys I went to college with moved here after they graduated. They had come here a few times during, like on spring break or something like that. And by my senior year, they become really, really good friends of mine, and they moved down here. And so they were living in St. Pete the whole time I was living in Nashville, and I would come down and, we stayed in touch, and I'd come down and visit them. Like, you guys live on the beach. I'm going to come down and hang out. So we'd do like boys trips, come down here, hang out. And I was like, dang, St. Pete's super cool. Like, I really like this place. And then when it came time to leave the music industry, I knew I'd never get out of the music industry if I stayed in Nashville. So I was like, I should move to St. Pete. Because those guys were both business owners. They're still business owners.
What year is it right now?
This is 2018.
Okay.
2018, 2019. And both those guys are business owners here in St. Pete, still to this day. And so I was like, if I'm going to get out of this, I don't think I want to get a 9-to-5. I've never had one. I don't think it'd suit me well. And so I was like, I'll move down to St. Pete, and I still was working in the music industry in a different capacity, still traveling a lot. And I was like, I'll get around those guys and get in their mindset of what it takes to be a business owner. And I had no idea I was going to open a cigar lounge when I moved down here. That was not the intent.
Okay.
Just kind of.
Are you still in the cigar world at that time when you're in the music industry?
I've never been in the cigar world.
I mean, like in terms of that, you were still going to lounges in Nashville and things like that.
Oh yeah, still like heavily. I was still smoking cigars. Every day in Nashville. I'd go to cigar bars and just work in Nashville, and get my laptop up and do that whole thing. And I just kind of saw an opportunity for the cigar lounge I envisioned in downtown St. Pete area. What I had in my head just didn't exist here at the time, and I was like, maybe that could work,
So let's go back, because I like to catch the inception of the idea. So you're hanging around your buddies who are business owners. You're living in St. Pete a little bit. The idea for a cigar bar is not there yet. Where does that? Do you remember the moment?
Yeah, I was on tour. Because once I moved down here, I was still in the music industry. I was working for a nonprofit, one that I had known as an artist, and I was like, I still need a gig. Like, I can't just quit, my job and not have a job. So I started touring with a nonprofit, like doing artist relationships, that kind of stuff. And so I would just travel with these artists that, for the most part, I already kind of knew. So it was a pretty easy gig of going out there and just making sure everything was set with the nonprofit, because the nonprofit would sponsor these music tours, and I would kind of be the go-between on all that. And it was during COVID. It was like November of 2020. And we were doing these drive-in movie theater tours because the whole world had shut down. And, the contemporary Christian music industry was doing these we'd go to drive-in movie theaters and like set up a stage.
And people would sit in their cars?
Sit in their cars or in their tailgate or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting around with a bunch of guys, and I was like, I think I'm gonna start a cigar bar. Like, I had enough time on my hands to kind of actually, conceptualize what it would look like to open a cigar bar. And I was like, let's get a business plan made. And just, so I hired like a company that does business plans, and like, hey, like, let's, do the research, see if this is like in this specific area, if this is like a financially viable option. And got the business plan made like January of 2021, and the ball never stopped rolling. And here we are doing a podcast. So
love that. I love that. And so so January 21, things are starting to move up, and from that time of inception to when did the doors open?
So 2021 was the business plan. Doors opened in December of 2022. So almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So in that time, 2 years, what's happening behind the scenes?
So at first it was you get the business plan. I did not have all the money needed to start a cigar bar, so I needed to get some money. So I started shopping around for a loan. And that took a good 5-6 months to really, vet out all the banks and talk. We talked to 4 or 5 of them and went through the whole. We ended up doing an SBA loan, and there's a lot of like red tape involved with an SBA loan. And so, and we had found the location we wanted to do, and we'll talk about that specific location. But we had like a couple banks deny us because of our location. They were like, "Hey, we like the business plan, we like the concept, we like everything you're doing. We don't like your location." And I was like, "This is where we're this is where we're putting the cigar bar. Like there's no negotiating that. I kind of like knew that was the spot to be in. And then, you know, it was First Citrus. Now they're DFCU. They're like right across the street from us.
Yeah.
They said, yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
So, and then that ball kind of takes, and then you gotta, then it goes on. And now that you have funding, then you can start finding, you know, real estate. So now we gotta get locked in on, because you can't like sign a lease or anything until you have like funding, and they know that like
they don't want.
Yeah. So we had this spot in mind, and then we finally, there was a tenant in it, and there was like the guy that owns the building now was still like in due diligence with everything. So we had some time, which was nice. And then he didn't actually take possession of the property until December, like November, December of 2021.
Okay.
So a lot of it was just waiting until we could actually get in there. And then we started our build out, and then had some delays with the build out. It took us about 12 months about 11 months to get the build out done.
Now, who helped you come up with that idea? Was that all you? Did you hire somebody
For
your vibe inside?
It was me. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know how to design anything. I don't.
But I've been in there. It's cool.
Yeah, I know what I like and what I don't like.
Yeah.
I guess is the phrase. And so I spend a lot of time on Pinterest and just be like, I like that. You know, I'll paint my walls that color, and I'll get that type of furniture, and I like the way that looks. So just kind of piece it together, and you know, it took so long. Our HVAC system in there is like a state-of-the-art system. And that system is custom built for our cigar lounge.
Wow.
Because they don't really make them because our inside's pretty small. It's about 800 square foot. They don't make them that small. These systems are typically made for welding facilities, hospitals, you know, tens of thousands of square foot. And that system took about 5 months to build.
Oh, wow.
So that was the biggest delay.
Yeah, but it's super important.
It is very important. You know, we wanted a spot where, well, first of all, I hate smoky cigar lounges. I don't want to be breathing in like your cigar, you know. So I know our ventilation system exchanges the air every 7 minutes with outside air. So, you know, the only way to get rid of cigar smoke is to get rid of cigar smoke.
Right.
It's the most inefficient way to do it. That's for sure. We spend all this money to cool, dehumidify, and then we immediately suck it out. So it's inefficient, but it works. System's designed to do it. But it was you know, it's important for guys to be able to sit in there and not reek when they left, or, you know, it's always kind of a hard push to get your girlfriend or wife to come to a cigar bar. But when they come in, they're like, oh, it's actually not terrible in here, which is good.
Yeah. No, that's it's all valid. Super important, because I've been in good ones, I've been in bad ones.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell a difference on the ventilation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one thing you think about of getting into it. Like, am I going to smell like a cigar all day? Or the next week.
I mean, I don't know. I might smell a little bit like cigars.
No, you didn't. I didn't. So, I mean, I didn't get that close to you, but
you know, I don't walk into a room. I don't want to smoke
but
cigar
you like,
smoke,
you know, when people smoke a cigarette and they walk in a room, you know.
Yeah, or if you hotbox a cigar in your car, like you're gonna smell like a cigar,
you know,
like offensively. I don't want to like offend anybody by smelling like cigars. You know. So for me, that was really important to me.
So let's talk about what are some important aspects now that you've gone through a couple lounges, you built out your own. What are some key things that people really enjoy? What makes your cigar bar unique?
I think the biggest thing that makes our cigar bar unique is, it might sound stupid, the people that come in there, but I think the audience we draw is because of our focus on community. Where our name is Estate Cigars and Social, and the social aspect was big for me. That's not there because it sounds cool. It does sound cool, but it's something that's important to me. People come in, they're greeted when they walk in the door, and hey, we give them space. We're not like looking over their shoulder, but hey, just let you know, if you need help, let me know. We're here. We're available to help you out. Because I've been to some cigar bars, especially when I first started smoking, that unless you're like, they don't help you at all. And if you don't know anything about cigars, they
kind of shoot you out.
Yeah, they make you feel like an idiot or something, and that could potentially turn somebody away from ever smoking a cigar again. So if someone comes into a cigar bar for the first time, they're interested about cigars, and they have a terrible experience, they might not ever come back to a cigar bar ever again. But if they come in, they have a great experience, they feel welcomed, they get the right cigar, and it's a good experience. That we could have a customer and a cigar smoker for the rest of their life, and it's somebody else that's in the hobby and the passion, growing what cigar industry is. Mm-hmm. So our lounge is truly focused on, we're a cigar bar. That's what we do. But I would say that is kind of a secondary thing to like the community and the experience.
I like about your shop is the intimacy. I walked in there the other day hoping that you were there, and I had just missed you. And some of your customers, I mean, we were chopping it up for just a few minutes just from me walking in the door.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just the people they didn't even work there.
Yeah, it's small, it's intimate.
Yeah.
Inside we have 16 seats. Outside we have like 50. This time of year, you definitely don't want to be outside unless it's the sun's down.
Right.
But the regulars just it's so intimate. It almost forces you to talk to people.
Yeah.
which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You can't help but you're in a cigar bar. You already have a kickoff point to something to talk about, right? You're in a cigar bar. Both of you guys are smoking cigars. I might not know anything about you, but hey, what cigar are you smoking? And then it's a conversation starter, and it doesn't have to be around anything else. That can be from completely different walks of life. But you guys are both
share
smoking
that
cigars.
one commonality. It's like having a drink with someone, but it's a little more fine art to it.
Yeah.
And then I find that for myself of that cigars are an art.
Yeah.
So could you speak on that a little bit? I think for those listening, like, oh, cigar bar, what is that? But I think unless you're in that world, like a fine wine, you can tell a difference between a good cigar and a bad one.
Absolutely.
And from your experience, from 18 to now, how has your palate changed with cigars?
It's gotten pretty good. There's certain cigars I don't smoke anymore, and just because I don't really drink wine that much, but I get where some guys come from. Where like I don't drink like $10 bottles of wine, and they're just like I just don't because nothing against it. It's just not for my palate anymore. They serve its purpose, and it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not for me. I've had guys come to the cigar bar, and they're like, oh, maybe they're younger. They're in the first cigar they've ever smoked. Like, what's your most expensive cigar? I'm like, listen, I can sell you our most expensive cigar. I could also sell you this cigar, and you're not gonna be able to tell the difference. I can save you $30, and you're still gonna have a great experience.
Right, because you don't know any better.
Because you don't have a palate for it yet.
Right.
So you just smoke everything. I always tell people, just smoke everything. When you first start getting into it, run the gamut. If you like something, do some research on it. Was that a Connecticut shade wrapper? Was it a broadleaf wrapper? Was it Honduran, Nicaraguan, Dominican? And then find more cigars that are like that one, and keep smoking and keep doing your research until you really find what you like. So that's kind of and the whole agricultural side. We could talk about it forever, but cigars are the ones we have in our cigar lounge. Premium cigars are all 100% handmade. I mean, from like seedling to finished cigar, about 300 sets of hands touch that cigar before you smoke it, and it's all done by hand. So they plant it by hand. They take primings,
the harvest and everything.
The harvest by hand. They hang it by hand. They age it by hand. Everything's done by hand. This tobacco, a lot of the time, is sitting years and years and years before it's rolled. That's how you age it. So just like aging wine or whatever it is, you have to age it, and time is money. And so the longer that cigar is aged, obviously the more expensive it's going to be.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful thing because there's so many different different layers of tobacco that are inside it. To your point about the wrap and everything, and the gauge of it. How long is it? How's it burn?
Yeah.
What kind of cut do you go? What kind of cut? What's your go-to cut?
I'm a straight cut.
Yeah.
I mean, the most popular cut we do is V.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Why do people like the V cut?
It became really popular over like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 years, V cuts have like taken.
Does anyone do the punch? I don't get the punch.
I would say like 1 out of every 100 customers gets a punch.
Yeah, that is a unique. I don't get it.
For me, there's a funny term in the cigar industry called mouthfeel, and it's like literally how the cigar feels in your mouth.
Yeah, I know it.
And all it is like it's just a preference, like a punch, straight cut, V cut. It doesn't really affect the way the cigar smokes at all. It's just personal preference.
You don't think there's a difference if you have a punch versus straight cut? You're gonna get more airflow over that, no?
Potentially. I mean, it depends how small of a punch you do.
Yeah.
There are some downfalls of like a punch. Like there could get like oil that builds up under the cap and that kind of stuff that can make like a sour taste to the cigar, because the cigars like the tobacco like emits oils. So, for the most part, it's not going to affect it. But yeah, I'm a straight cut guy. That's just like I've been doing it for 18 years or 15 years, and it's just the way I cut my cigars.
Yeah, no, it's everyone's
old habits die hard. You know, so
everyone's got their preference.
Yeah,
I definitely appreciate good straight cut. So I have a fun story. I mean, like you're saying, if you come in and you have a good mentor, I think you're in your initial go at cigars, like you said, you showed up at that shop at 18 and they kind of took you under the wing. It sounds like they were having you do things. It's a good introduction. And another shop in town, I won't name them just for the sake of honoring your shop today, went in there, and he doesn't work there any longer, but man, our first time in there, me and my buddies, I felt like we got a PhD in cigars.
Yeah.
Because he sat with us for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
telling us about, oh, this is that, kind of how you did, all hand rolled, all this stuff. This one was on Cigar Aficionado, like all, and you became a little bit connoisseur to cigars. And introduced to Padron right off the bat, and dude, I'm spoiled.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. I mean, that's the way, I love that we have other good cigar bars in town. Like Central Cigars, we have a great relationship with those guys. I think they've been around for like 30 years now, and they're awesome. And there's always room for one more good cigar lounge.
Oh yeah, and so let's talk about your location.
Yeah.
Because if we can dovetail, is there anything else? We can go back to cigars. The way my brain works, dude, who knows? We're going to be jumping around. Grace is going to be taking notes all over the place. So location, let's go back to that because that was a big thing that was important to you. It sounds like even before you had the hard location, you just knew the area that you wanted to be in.
Yeah, really, we didn't really know much about the South Side. I moved here in 2019, and like I said, I was still traveling a ton. I was gone, 230 days a year. So I was constantly gone. And not knowing anything about St. Pete, I looked at a crime map and I was like, I'm going to live in Seminole. And so we live by the beach. My wife and I have a house over there, and we love it over there. However, we didn't really know much about St. Pete. Now, getting to know St. Pete better, looking for real estate for the cigar bar, we discovered like the South Side, which, not knowing much about St. Pete already, South Side was like, I would tell people, hey, we're kind of looking at this location. Like, what's the address? This, like, oh, it's on the South Side. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, you sure you want to open on the South Side? I'm like, what's wrong with the South Side? It just has this real, every time you mention, like, and it happens to this day, like when I'm out and about, even after we've been open for a year and a half, I'll meet somebody else and I'm like, oh, you own a cigar bar, where's it at? I'm like, oh, 4th Street South. They're like, oh. And there's that stigmatism that the South Side's like rough or whatever it is. And I wish people would really just let that go and come to the South Side, because most people that say that have never spent any time in the South Side. Like, they might have driven down to like,
Pinellas Point,
and like not looking at left or right, but they just drove all the way down there. But the South Side has a lot of really cool stuff, and it feels like old school St. Pete is how a lot of people describe the South Side of St. Pete to me. They're like, it still feels like St. Pete from 15 years ago, where it's like that small beachy kind of community where everybody supports local businesses, and that's what the South Side wants. Is they're hungry for more things. The people down there are great. There's just not a lot of options. And so we're really pushing a lot of people to like, hey, put your business in the South Side. Come south of like, 5th, past the hospital. There's a lot of good, available commercial real estate down there. Put a restaurant down there, put a bar down there, anything.
One of my buddies just bought a restaurant down there at the end
nice.
of course. It just happened last week. I don't want to mention it because they're still going through all this stuff. But there's a lot of opportunity on the South Side for sure.
Yeah, and the people are awesome. I mean, like, we have such an eclectic group of people that come to the cigar bar, which I think is amazing. People from all different walks of life, and everyone gets along, and it's great. So I'm definitely pushing everyone to come to the South Side.
Yeah, well, I love the social aspect of what you're doing. I think to have a staple, and even like, to me, a cigar bar is a little bit of a classier establishment. I mean, when I came by, there was a Bentley parked out front. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. There's money coming through there, right? But it can all, like you said, all walks of life, and bringing all that together, and then, maybe that person who owns a business and they're seeing opportunity, and then now it's how things start to happen, right? And more opportunity. It's always funny
when people talk, like, oh, no, I would never live in the South Side. Opening a business somewhere is one thing, but living somewhere is another thing. Like, eventually my wife and I will move. We can't right now, but eventually we will move down to the South Side. I want to live in the community where my business is. And if you're like, sure, you want to live in the South Side? I'm like, the townhome that I share a property line with, one half of that townhome just sold for almost $1 million. And 10 years ago, no one would have ever thought that a house on 13th and 4th would sell for $1 million, or half of a townhome would sell for $1 million. So I think the residential side of it, people are starting to figure, it's kind of like a hidden gem still. Be like, oh, this area is super cool. Like, there's cobblestone streets, and it's got like that typical. It's like the old Northeast, but you're on the south side of town. It feels very much like that, and I think people are starting to discover that secret.
It is slowly coming out.
Yeah,
we're shedding some light on it right this second.
Yeah,
so people are going to peek their head and they're going to go check it out. But I think if there's opportunity for growth and just some cool things to happen, it is on the South Side. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
If you're looking to to start something new, I think the South Side, you're gonna be the first, pretty much.
Yeah, and to your point of the community there, it's going to be well received because there's not many other options, and they do want it.
Yeah,
So they're going to want to come through.
exactly.
I mean, when I came by your shop, the reason was we were looking at a rental property down there,
Okay.
talking with a tenant, recommended, what's the pizza joint right next to you?
Nico's.
Nico's. He was like, you got to go over there and get a slice. And I was like, all right, well, we'll hop over there. I didn't know you were even in that plaza at the time. I said, I just talked to Jonathan. I need to walk in the shop, and I was like, oh, that's a great strip right there.
Yeah, it's right now there's not a lot of businesses that are open in it. So like right now the rest of the building interior wise is going under like a renovation. So hopefully we'll have some more tenants in there soon. Yeah, we love our little plaza. We're on Booker Creek and we got like a little water view.
Yeah.
People give us crap because I say waterfront patio. But I mean, I guess if manatees swim through there, I'm gonna call it waterfront.
Yeah,
so I call it waterfront.
They get in there somehow.
Yeah, so the manatees are in there. And Booker Creek's awesome. It's like this little haven of like wildlife. Nick, guy that owns Nico's Pizza, is a huge fisherman. He's born and raised, St. Pete. So he's a big fisher, and I don't fish. But he's always over there like looking at the fish, like, John, check that. That's a snook. That's a tarpon. And he's like, it's crazy to see this much like wildlife in this little creek we have here. So it's a cool little oasis out there. We really like it. We're fortunate.
So what's next for State?
I mean, I keep growing. I've been amazed by what's happened so far. I think everyone that opens a business hopes that it's successful, or at least plans on it being successful. No one's like, I'm going to open a business to fail.
Right. I don't know anyone who has that plan.
No. But in our first year, we won Best of the Bay. Our first year in business, like 9 months into business, we won Best of the Bay, Best Cigar Lounge.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was a complete surprise to me. I didn't even know we were nominated. Someone texted me, hey, congrats on the nomination.
Wow.
And I was like, nominated for what? Like Best of the Bay. I was like, oh, cool. And then we ended up winning, which I did not think was going to happen either. So I think that's really humbling, and it's honoring that people. The concept is like people are latching on to the concept. They like they want the cigar lounge to succeed, because without people, patronizing our lounge, we're not going to be in business.
Right.
So the people have really discipled our lounge and talked about it.
How big of an impact do you think it is when are you there almost every day when you're open?
Yeah, pretty much. We're getting to the point now where I can hire some staff. So we're a staff of 5 now, which is pretty crazy that I have employees. I've never had employees before.
Yeah, it's a whole different game, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, payroll's coming up. So we're building our staff, and I'm actually about to get back in the business just a little bit more. I cut my schedule back a little bit, and I kind of miss being in the business.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't need to have that much time off. So I work about 40, 45 hours a week.
Well, I was just saying I feel like any local business, when the owner's there, especially in a shop like that, where it's a social aspect, I come in, I see Jonathan, I get my cigar, sit down, I'm hanging out, I'm catching up. Like, it's a whole part of the experience. So I'm sure, then you get your regulars coming in. They're excited to see you.
Yeah.
Definitely helps the growth in the community aspect.
Yeah, it's great having, I love that people want to come in and hang out with me. Like, that's super cool. That's definitely a compliment. But the cool thing is we've been able to, the reality is I can't be there,
Of course. No,
90 hours a week. But we've been fortunate enough to, like, people always ask, how'd you get such good staff? Because, like, we have trouble finding good employees. And our employees are freaking rock stars. I mean, they embrace what we're doing at the cigar bar about, just customer service and, creating that experience for people at a cigar bar. And they just crush it. They I think we've hired every single person except for one from inside the cigar bar.
Oh, wow.
Like, they were just regulars.
Well, that's why they're great. I mean,
at the cigar bar.
Yeah.
Like, even our servers, we have 3 girl bartenders, and all but one of them, like, I met them at the lounge. So, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that would happen. A lot of my worries about staffing and that kind of stuff have kind of been relaxed, which is really nice.
That's good that you have the opposite problem.
Yes.
The most.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I love being at the cigar bar. I'm at a cigar bar. It's like it's especially in Florida. Like, I could be working outside. So my job is sitting inside, smoking cigars, hanging out with people. Like, we could be doing this at the cigar bar, and I could be at work technically. Yeah, which is great.
Dude, I was just thinking, literally as you were saying that, you were kind enough to bring me 2 cigars here. What do we got in here?
So we got 2 cigars from Foundation Cigar Company, which is one of my favorite, like, smaller boutique brands. Like, they're really growing in the industry. But Nick Nalillo, the owner of that company, was Drew Estate's master blender for years and years and years. Had his hand heavily in like the Liga Bravada line, and which is one of the most popular cigars in the world now. I mean, Drew Estate is a massive company. But 2015-ish, he started his own company called Foundation Cigar Company, and he's just been absolutely crushing it. No one in like the downtown St. Pete area carried Foundation cigars when we first opened, and I was like, why is nobody like they're sleeping on this brand? They're phenomenal. And it was one of the boutiques we carried that I really wanted to work. And a lot of boutiques that we carried had to go away because they just didn't latch on, and we have to tailor our humidor to what our customers want.
Of course.
I can't just carry what I want to smoke.
Right.
But Foundation, people fell in love with them. The tobacco is amazing. He's won a ton of awards. They're going to be at our patio party coming up and doing cigar deals
When's
and
that?
stuff. The 20th of July.
20th of July.
Yeah.
This will be out.
Outside on the patio, 5 to close.
Okay.
Live music.
July 20th. Was that a Friday?
It's Saturday.
Saturday.
Yep. Saturday patio party.
I might be out of town, but
That's
if I'm
all
here.
right. Yeah, come by, man.
here. I
Live
haven't
music.
decided yet.
It's Selena's, one of our servers' birthday.
Oh,
so we're doing like
perfect.
patio party
Perfect.
plus her birthday bash.
July 20th, Estate Cigars.
Don't
5
miss
o'clock.
it.
Yeah, patio party. I love that. I know. I wish we could spark these up.
I know,
over
right?
here, dude. I was thinking about that.
The full Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah,
Just-
would be cool. I don't think the building we're in would love that so much. Might set the
I mean, you could probably get away with it once, and then.
the smoke alarm right.
Well, no, I didn't bring
Yeah.
any. I didn't bring a cutter or a lighter.
yeah,
So we're
trust
good.
me, I thought about it. I've thought about it multiple times. Yeah, no, that's cool. I like so where's this guy from? I missed that.
So Nick is weirdly he's from Connecticut.
Okay.
Which is actually isn't that weird. I don't think people realize. Back to like just the cigar world, how much like tobacco for cigars is grown in the U.S.
Really? Okay, let's talk
Um,
about that because I feel like when people think cigars, first thing the Cuba.
Yeah,
you know,
we can talk about that too. We'll unpack that. But in states that you don't think grow tobacco, like Connecticut, is a huge grower of tobacco for premium cigars. There's 2 types of tobacco called Connecticut broadleaf and then Connecticut shade wrappers. Most of the shade is now grown in Ecuador because of the climate, just more conducive for it. But Connecticut broadleaf is still grown in the United States. Nick's got his own farm. Like that cigar, the Tabernacle uses a USA-grown Connecticut broadleaf wrapper on it. And I don't think people realize how much of the industry is still in the United States.
Yeah.
But a lot of
I don't.
a lot of the manufacturing is done. Like Nick's factory is the factories. He doesn't have his own factory in Nicaragua, but he contracts factories, and a lot of the rolling is still done in Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, that kind of stuff. I would assume because a lot of the tobacco comes from there. Also, labor's a little bit more affordable. There is a cigar called the American that J.C. Newman makes, and it's 100% American tobacco, manufactured,
Enrolled.
grown, everything. Never leaves America. Everything in it's from America, and that cigar costs like $30 for a small cigar, and it's because it's expensive.
Yep.
So, but most of the factories and stuff are down in. I mean, most of the tobacco grown today is still coming from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, Honduras.
Nicaragua is my favorite.
Mine too. I would
Yeah.
say Nicaragua, I think, has the best tobacco in the world right now. We're kind of in the boutique beer boom of cigars. So we have like all these micro brands coming out. They're getting really creative with where they're getting their tobacco from. And
It's a whole world, man. I love it. So, how do you like your pairing? Like, are you sipping on? What are you sipping on? What do you like? I'll tell you mine after. Go ahead. I want to hear what you like.
water or coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't particularly like to drink alcohol with cigars. I will socially, like obviously we're out socializing or something like that.
The social patio.
I'll have a drink with it. But if I'm just sitting at home smoking a cigar, it's always coffee or water.
Coffee's my go-to.
Oh yeah.
And if it's an evening and it's already if it's getting a little late, I'm like, can I do the decaf?
Oh yeah.
I'd love to have the decaf.
I'm
with
getting.
it.
How old are you now?
I turned 32 end of the month.
I'm 32.
Nice.
So like now, like I used to feel I can't drink coffee at nighttime anymore.
No.
Keeps me up now.
Dude, past 3-4 o'clock, we're going to the decaf.
Yeah.
And the fact that I even think I want to drink decaf is weird, but paired with, I put all my friends onto it. Coffee, and I think my brother-in-law maybe introduced it to me. The coffee and the cigar, and then Hershey's chocolates.
Oh,
The
yeah,
little
chocolate goes-
Hershey kisses.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
with the little cigar.
It's a good combo.
The coffee. Man, we're in there.
Have you ever had port wine?
You know the idea, yes. The idea for this podcast formed at a cigar bar.
Really?
I was with my buddies talking about it. We're over cigar, nicotine's a nootropic.
Yep.
Ideas are flowing. This podcast was born
That's the beauty of cigars.
at a cigar.
You know?
Because we're like doing a little mastermind unintentionally, just shooting the shit about our businesses.
Yep.
And then boom, podcast was born.
Exactly. That's one of the cool. Like you just mentioned, one of the coolest things about smoking cigars is just like that stuff like that happens all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Good ideas are formed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Coffee and cigars, you're just like, I'm on it.
Locked
Like
in,
I can do
You're
anything.
locked in. I wish I could sit at my desk and do that. That'd be a bad thing. So port wine. Sorry.
Port wine, yeah. I would say if I'm drinking alcohol with a cigar, port would be the alcoholic beverage I would drink.
Okay, I haven't tried that yet. I'll have to do that.
So
next
I
time.
don't drink port outside. Port's really sweet.
Yeah.
And I don't drink like a ton of really sweet drinks,
Yeah,
but
if you had just a little.
just
bit.
a little 2-ounce pours. And my buddy Chris, that owns Sauvignon, Wine Locker and everything, and he was like, dude, like you need to carry some port in your cigar bar. And I was like, I really don't know what port is. He's like, because Sauvignon's got that awesome balcony overlooking Central. Like, you bring the cigars, I'll bring the port. We'll do a tasting. I'm like, sounds great.
Sweet.
And my mind was blown. I mean, it is sweet if you just drink it on your own, but with the balance of the cigar, it's a sleeper of a drink with a cigar. I always give away a lot of samples at the cigar bar of it because I'm like, you guys should drink this.
Well, I think that's
so
smart.
Good.
Important. Do you got a dish of the Hershey Kisses?
No, I don't. I have
Put
mints.
that
Maybe I
out.
should get some Hershey Kisses.
I'm
Problem
not
is,
even kidding.
I'd eat them all.
The
That's
cigar
problem.
bar I'm talking about, when they're out of Hershey Kisses, I'm pissed.
Well, there's
I tell them.
Have
They
you
know
seen,
that I'm
you see how tight the suit is?
Yeah, well-
if I had Hershey Kisses on the table, I would not be wearing this jacket right now. How do they get elastic
limit
suits?
yourself to one little handful. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible.
But I'm telling you, for your customers.
Do you like the Hershey just like the Kisses, or do you like the ones with the little almonds inside too?
No, well, now you're getting tricky, but
It's nice.
right? You gotta watch repeat. Yeah, no, but the Kisses, they're just because it's just enough.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
a little nibble on
This
it.
is a little nibble with the coffee.
Next time you come in, you might see Hershey Kisses in there.
I'm just saying, we'll know where the influence came from. I see. That's the part of the experience.
Yeah.
The coffee, you have the little chocolate, you're having the cigar, the ideas are flowing, you're with good people, you're enjoying. Like I'm a huge fan.
And that's the thing about like the experience plays a huge part of smoking cigars because we're not feeding people. Like it's not like it's not like there's any like you go to a restaurant and the experience could be great and everything like that, but you're also filling a purpose of I'm hungry.
Yep.
And with cigars, you're not really filling any kind of meaningful purpose in their life other than creating experiences, and they like to smoke cigars.
Yep.
So people can smoke cigars. It's Florida, so for the most part, other than this part of year. For the next 3 months, it's not the most comfortable outside, but for the most time, people can they can smoke outside their porch, on their deck or whatever. But they choose to come to a cigar bar because of the experience,
And the company.
In the company, yeah.
Yeah.
Cigar smokers are really social people. I've kind of noticed that. Even people who aren't like super social are social inside a cigar bar. They get
For
chatty.
me and the boys, it's a great time to get together.
Oh yeah,
We're like, hey, let's all meet at the cigar bar. 5, 6 of us, boom, sit down, catch up.
yeah. Sounds like my friends group. We all smoke cigars.
Yeah.
We all have for a long time, and like everything is centered around.
Even
hey,
some of their girlfriends come in and get the little sticks.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
We have a ton of female smokers that come in, and sometimes they smoke the little sweet ones. Sometimes they're smoking like full blown regular cigars.
Love
And I've had a few girls that have like come from like smoking just those sweet cigars, and they've kind of worked their way up into like just like completely non flavored traditional cigars.
Yeah, it's an easy entryway into
is.
the world.
Sometimes people crap on flavored cigars. But there are good flavor, like we carry flavored cigars, and they're all still premium cigars. They're all 100% long filler quality. They just have like a sweet tip or something
What's
like that.
your
on them.
go-to right now? What are you smoking?
Cigar wise?
Yeah.
Oh man.
You and I are sitting down at your birthday. What are you pulling out?
I don't know, something from Foundation. Probably like they have a new cigar called the Axum, which is probably my favorite. They released that last year. It's probably one of my favorite cigars I've ever smoked off the rip. I was like, wow. I was smoking that cigar. I was like, holy crap, this is a really, really good cigar. That or Padron. I'm a huge Padron fan.
Spoiled.
I think Padron is probably maybe the best cigar
What year?
maker in the world. I don't know. I'm like right now. I used to be a 64 guy, and now I'm kind of like a 26 guy. So I don't know what happened to me. But
I don't think I've smoked enough of them. That's all normally my go-to. But to know that I would notice a huge difference.
you should do it side by side because Padron's they're a very linear blender.
Yeah.
You kind of always know when you're smoking a Padron. They have like that.
Oh yeah. You can
Every
tell.
Padron's like super like creamy and like the chocolatey kind of those dessert
That's what I'm
notes,
telling you, yeah.
which is like right up my alley. But so it's very subtle. 26 is a little bit more bold. Like might have a little more spice to it. 64 is definitely more like that creamy chocolatey side, but it's nuanced. So definitely like to really understand it,
you gotta have it side
I would
by
just
side. I
I
think
would do it
now I'm
side by
just hitting the
side.
point. It's so awesome that we're having this because I think it was actually at all things. All the guys were over for my nephew's first birthday, and we're sitting outside of the house there, all having a cigar because I got shoot, man, I can't remember the box I bought my brother. Anyhow, we're sitting, and I was really leaning it like. Understanding the experience, like taking my time with it. It was a little more. I was way more chilled out, and I was really appreciating. I was like, this is the art. Like I could see, like there was a little switch that happened inside. I've always enjoyed it, but like it was an extra good cigar that day for some reason. Yeah. And since then, I'll be like, okay.
You're like fully in the hobby when you're not just doing it socially, and you're just like sitting outside by yourself in silence, smoking a cigar. And you're like, wow.
Reflecting on the day?
Yeah, I'm just like, because you're not doing anything. You're just literally sitting there smoking a cigar, not on your phone. I've been there before. I'm just smoking a cigar, like just paying attention to the cigar and the experience of like smoking it. And
I know. For those who don't get it right now and you're listening, it's being present.
Smoke cigars. You should smoke cigars. If you're legal age, smoke cigars.
I think it's being present with something.
Yeah.
You know, like to you back when you were playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
You're locked in.
Yeah.
You're there. Right? If you're really locked in with anything that you're doing, I think that's how you fully enjoy and have a real experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you're doing. You're creating a presence.
Yeah. I think, once people just figure out that this can be something that they can dive into fully and immerse themselves in it, a lot of guys and girls just like fall in love with cigar smoking, and I can't exactly tell you why. I think
it's all the like then you can get in. Oh, I got this torch, I got this cutter, I got this.
Oh yeah,
if you get all the accessories.
I mean, if you're an accessorizer, I mean, there's a never-ending world for you in the cigar world.
Yeah, that's for sure. Little couch, this little thing. I'm going to this wedding. I got that. Like I can see it's.
I have the cutter I've had for a long time. I bought this cutter like 12 years ago, and it's still a cutter I use till this day. I got like a little leather sleeve for it. I feel like so pretentious when I pull it out. I'm like, pull it out of the sleeve. I'm like, but hey, it's like
you've had it for 12 years. It's lasted.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, if I ever lose that cutter, I'll actually legitimately be upset. I'll be really upset if I lose that one. So I don't bring it to the lounge. I keep it at the house.
Keeps it at the house.
Like, I don't travel with it. Yeah, I'm like, it's one of those things where I don't. I use it when I'm at home smoking, but I don't use it as much as I. Used to, because I'm like, I just don't want to lose it at this point. Like, now I just need to safeguard this thing.
Right. Well, you had it for a while, so I get that. All right, let's come out of the cigar world for a little bit.
Yeah.
Talk about St. Pete. You've been here now since what, 2019, 2018?
Yep, 2019.
What have you seen? What is the biggest change you've seen in St. Pete since you've been here?
I mean, 400 Central.
Yeah.
I was driving in today, and I was like, God, that thing's getting tall. I haven't noticed a difference in the people, but just the growth has been insane, which I think is amazing. I'm not one of those guys that's like, St. Pete's changing. That's bad. I think St. Pete's changing. I think it's good. I think that it's still small business focused. I think it's still keeping like the integrity of the city. I mean, look at you go walk down Central. Like, how many of those are like chains?
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
They know what I'm about to say. Melting pot is showing up on Central.
I heard that.
How do you feel about it?
I don't like melting pots like in a whole. Like, I don't like that restaurant. Sorry, I'm not a fondue guy. Okay, that's just.
I'm not a fondue guy either.
Yeah, I don't like eating in basements.
And listen, I understand. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh, the melting pot used to be on 4th." Yes, go back there.
Yeah,
I don't feel like it belongs on Central, and I'm cautious of how much I want to come at it.
Yeah,
because it's going to be a 2-story spot. It's I think the local people will obviously work there. They'll employ people. It might grow a good. But what I don't like, and it's not against the melting pot, it's against the idea that you're opening the door for other chains to show up.
Yeah,
and that's what I don't like.
There's a couple scary things about that. I think first of all, like, the public will decide what they want and what they don't want.
The market will speak.
Yeah, they'll decide where they're going to spend their money.
And we have an influence right now, Jonathan.
We do.
We're influencing.
If you like fondue, maybe go to the melting pot. But
maybe,
if not,
but if you like local business,
yeah, maybe don't. So that's the thing. That's a scary point. The scary thing is that I have some buddies who have businesses that are on Central and like the 200 block and that kind of stuff where it's getting really expensive. So if you don't own the building to have a business there, the rents are becoming astronomical. And at the end of the day, only corporate. If this trend keeps happening, only corporate business will be able to afford that. Those businesses like go to 200 block, like those are for the most part all like small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
They're still like one-off, locally owned,
Yep.
small businesses. They can't, those at some point you can't sustain paying $70,000 a month in rent as a small business. You can't be, you don't like the Melting Pot or like PF Chang's or whatever it is, where they have 100 restaurants where like, oh, one's taking a loss, that's fine. We have other ones that are making it. That business has to make its money where it's at. So it is a little scary to see. The corporate thing would scare me because if those landlords, whoever owns those properties, are going to be like, well, these small businesses can't pay, so we're just going to put corporate in there because they can pay it, and they're going to pay the $80,000 a month, and they're not going to blink at it. Whereas the small business is gonna be like, oh man, I can't really swing that, So that's a little scary. I think there's a lot of responsibility on landlords to protect small businesses in that way, and I get everyone wants to make money. I'm open to cigar bar, not for charity, but I'm passionate about it, but also I have to
pay bills.
I have to live.
Yeah.
So there is the money making aspect that's involved with any kind of business thing, but I think that there is a responsibility to people who want to that own these properties. If they want to keep the heart of St. Pete, make it affordable, make money. Don't get me wrong, make money. But make it affordable where it's tailored to small business and not just corporate conglomerations that can come in and take over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. I feel the same way, and I hope this show and us can make some influence on that as places like 400 Central to Art House open up, and there's going to be more retail, so more opportunity for them to look at. Okay, do we let big franchise come in, or do we keep it local?
Yeah,
and
it depends how much they're going to price it at,
right?
So.
And only time will tell.
There's a handful of only a handful of small businesses that can afford, paying $60,000-$70,000 a month in rent like that. That's
a lot of money.
Like you have to be a very high volume.
Yeah, you're
business.
talking over $500,000 a year just in rent.
Yeah, so you got to be making a lot of money to make that work, plus payroll and everything else you have going on. So if my landlord's watching, when we renegotiate, keep small business in mind. No, be on the south side and stuff like that. We don't have that problem. Not yet.
Not yet. As you're sitting here talking, I'm thinking, how fun is this going to be for us to have another conversation around? I mean, we'll have many more, but in the time of 5 years from now.
Yeah,
and see how your shop is doing, and is staple being early in an area that's up and coming.
See what the rent, I think rents right now are already going.
You'll own the building, Jonathan. Come on.
Well, maybe one day.
Yeah, I think big, dude.
I want to be opposed to it, but I think already kind of looking at we signed our lease. I don't know, 2.5 years ago, and already seeing what rents in that area are already going for. Are 40-50% up from what we're paying per square foot. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's a little scary.
Yeah, it happens quick.
But at the end of the day, it's like, we have room to kind of grow. Like that's what happens. You get in early and you start your business and you have low overhead and you can kind of get, position yourself in a good spot. And that's what I've seen on Central a lot is, a lot of business on Central, they come and go quickly. I've kind of noticed that. And, when I was looking at real estate for the cigar bar, we looked all across Central, everywhere up and down the whole thing. And you start looking at that and, you have a budget in mind. You should have a budget before you can pay for rent. And we could have been on Central, but we would have been at the top of that would have been like our budget. Like that's, very much at the top of our budget for that spot. And it's like, okay, so if things don't go exactly how we're planning,
you have no wiggle room.
This rent's really going to hurt. And I think sometimes people underestimate how hard it is to get people inside your doors. Mm-hmm. You have to convince people to convince people to come in and spend their money there. And that can be difficult. And if you don't make your numbers, then things happen quickly.
Spiral, and now you can't pay rent, and you're out.
Yeah, you start getting behind, especially with a small business. Cash flow is king, and you want to protect yourself as much as possible and insulate yourself. And that's why 90% of small businesses fail. That's probably a made up number, but a majority of businesses fail.
I don't think it's made up.
Well, I'm saying because of cash flow.
Yeah,
because there's no cash in the business. Cash flow will kill you every single time if you don't have it.
It's the blood.
Yeah.
So the blood.
You got to keep your overhead costs low and be strategic with what you're doing. But all that to say, I would say that local businesses need to be in St. I think that's what makes St. Pete St. Pete. 100%. When I tell people I have people visit and I'm like, yeah, we'll just walk down Central. Just walk restaurants, shops, bars, this and that. That's all just small businesses. They're all just local folks. Trying to start a dream.
It's local, and so it's unique. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you go out on a strip or you go out to the suburbs and you drive down, okay, there's a Starbucks, there's a Target, there's a Wawa, there's all these other places, and they all have the same. I know what I'm getting when I'm walking in there, which is some people really like, but there's no uniqueness.
Yeah.
There's no.
That's what, like,
experience.
where I live in Seminole. It's like it's the suburbs, and
Yeah.
it's quiet. You know, the school system's good, and there's an Applebee's, and there's a Miller's Ale House.
Right,
and, you know,
right.
it's great. You know, so but there's nothing like unique or cool about it. And that's why we spend all of our time in downtown St. Pete. All of our
Yeah.
favorite restaurants are downtown. The bars that we go to.
segue. So what's your favorite?
Oh man, what are we eating? Like we just like a nice dinner? Or is it just like, hey, we're popping in to grab?
Give
a
me
bite?
it all. Give me it all. You don't have to have just one.
This is a cliche. I love Engine Number 9. I love good burgers.
Ooh,
So
love that.
Casita for tacos is phenomenal. Nico's Pizza and Subs. My
Yeah.
neighbor, they're amazing people. They make really good pizza. And then Mullets on the south side. Go check out Mullets.
You know, I had a group of friends that just went there to eat, but I couldn't make it. But they said great things.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's they're crushing it down there. So those are my go-tos. I kind of circle those spots. For something nicer, we'll go to Sauvignon for a nice dinner. Yeah, that's like kind of that's kind of.
Have you been to? I haven't chatted them. I want to shout them out. Have you been to Soul St. Pete yet? You got to go see Debbie and Ron.
Okay.
Soul St. Pete, all super clean ingredients because Debbie's allergic to a bunch of stuff. But a very high quality, great cook, like an awesome vibe.
Okay.
Great people, great business owners.
I'll check them out.
Yeah.
What kind of food is it?
Yeah, a range of stuff, but just like some real good food for the soul.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. I'll check them out.
Yeah, take the wife. You guys you'll like it.
I'm always up to try new things. That's the that's the crazy thing about St. Pete is like you could try a new restaurant every single day.
Yeah.
And then like it's going to take you a long time,
Yep.
I mean years to try all the restaurants in St.
Yeah,
Pete.
especially because then a new one pops up.
All the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple I still need to get to. So we'll make our rounds.
Yeah.
For sure.
Soul St. Pete. Debbie and Ron, I got you.
Soul St. Pete.
Soul St.
Debbie
Pete.
and Ron.
Yep.
We're
They're-
coming for you.
No, it's a great date spot. Good
Okay.
intimate vibe. Yeah, you can sit outside if it's not too hot. Inside's cool. But Debbie's poured her heart into the menu and all
Okay.
that, so it's good. It's good. Man, okay, what was that? July 20th?
July
Was it
20th, Saturday, July 20th, patio party.
patio party.
Selena's birthday bash.
Yes.
Foundation Cigars, live music.
Go check that out. If people want to connect with you online or social, where can they find you?
Instagram's like our big push.
Mm-hmm.
Estate Cigars _ St. Pete is the handle. We're on Facebook. We have a website, but Instagram is where you're gonna find all of our.
Yeah.
Like that's where we're like
Give them a
pumping out.
Google and go walk in. Go check it out.
Yeah, Google. Leave us a review if you have a good experience.
Yeah.
Let me know if you have a bad one. We'll make it right. But yeah, Google us 1201 4th Street South. I mean, we're literally 0.7 miles from Central Avenue
Yeah,
on
it's not
4th. We're
so
right.
close.
Well, we could walk there from here. I've walked there from here before. I've left the 200 block a little bit toasty, and I was like, I'm gonna walk this one off and
Go to the
just
shop.
go take a nap on one of those comfortable chairs for a second. So it's walkable. Trust me.
I love that. If people are still with us, Jonathan, what should they comment below?
What should they comment?
Yeah.
Your favorite cigar.
Favorite cigar.
Favorite cigar.
If you're a cigar aficionado, let us know in the comments below. Dude, this was a lot of fun.
I loved it.
I'm pumped. I wish I didn't have another meeting because I'd be coming down to the shop. Well, you're not open today, but we'd be going and opening it up so I could smoke one of these.
I do have the keys, so
Yeah. I might know the guy.
we can get in.
It's been awesome. I appreciate you,
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Don't forget to go follow Estate Cigars, Estate Cigars _ St. Pete. Like, follow, subscribe, share with a friend, and let us know in the comments below what your favorite cigar is and who else we should have on the podcast. We're always looking for cool new people, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out, guys.